Hello everyone, thanks for watching the video. As you can probably tell, I'm not very comfortable, but it will work. I am going to explain to you how you use a typewriter. I get a lot of questions about that. I understand many people don't know. I mean, we're in 2017 and most people haven't even seen one of these in person. Many people are new to them. However, surprisingly, these machines have found a spot in modern society. Rather than being an office necessity, nowadays they've turned into a creative and artistic tool. So if you find yourself with a typewriter and you don't know how to use them, stick around for the video because I will explain to you the basic functions on how everything works. I decided to use a very basic machine for this video. It's an iconic one, the Underwood 5. This is the original one. This one was made in 1911, so it's now almost 106 years old. So this one is about as basic as they come. All of the functions are very straightforward. It's right in your face, nothing obscured, which was an issue with the later machines that I wanted to use. For example, I had a Royal from 1958. But the thing is, a lot of the functions have been obscured because back in those days they were experimenting on how to make the use of a typewriter simpler and easier. A lot of what they do nowadays with cell phones and computers. But the reason why I didn't use one of those is because everything is hidden and it doesn't explain the basics of how a function works. A Royal back in the 30s they introduced magic margin. Magic margin was where you set the margins by just pushing a button. And the entire mechanism would be obscured and wouldn't be in full view, which is different from this machine. All the functions are incredibly simple and this will help you understand your machine better, I hope. So stick around and if you have any questions, please drop them below in the comments. This video will teach you how to use the basic functions on a typewriter. Let's get started. The first thing you have to understand is that a typewriter is made of two major components, the body and the carriage. The carriage allows the page to move along as you type in order to create sentences on the page. The carriage on this typewriter will also operate as the shift. A typewriter's type bar has two characters on it. The height of the carriage will determine which character is printed on the page. The type bar mechanism is what is called a type basket. On some typewriters, this will raise and lower instead of the carriage to form the shift. This is the paper table and this is the platen. In order to start the writing process, you insert your piece of paper between these. I'll show you how it's done. Slide the page in until it will not lower any further. Then raise the paper supports and scroll the page through. It is very likely the page will scroll through crooked. There is a way to correct this. Follow these steps in order to straighten the page. This is the paper release switch. There are support rollers installed in the typewriter underneath the platen, which assist the page as it is scrolled through. These will move aside when you push down on this, allowing you to move the page freely. This way you can correct the position of the page inside the machine. Align the page until it sits straight and then reset the paper support. Now I will set the margins. The margins on the typewriter work the same way as they do on a computer. They determine the space between the text and the edge of the page. This is where you will set the line spacing between each sentence. This typewriter is fitted with a 3-space line spacer. It will allow you to space once, twice or 3 times. This can be different on other typewriters. This is the carriage release switch, the switch that allows the carriage to move freely without being limited to the escapement, the system that determines the spaces between each character. There is also a switch on this side of the carriage that disconnects the platen from its spacing gear, allowing you to adjust it freely. This is the color selector. If you have a black and red ribbon installed in your typewriter, it will allow you to change the color of your type. There's also the backspace, which does only half of what it would do on a computer. Obviously it will not erase the text, but it will move the carriage back space by space. Taking another look at the shift, we see that this typewriter has a bit of an unusual shift mechanism. Most typewriters will have shift keys with shift lock keys sitting on top. This typewriter only has 2 shift keys, one of them being the shift, one of them being the shift lock. The right margin will lock the carriage when you reach the end of a sentence. When you are in the middle of writing a word, this can be inconvenient. Press the margin release and the typewriter will allow you to continue typing past that margin. Again, if you have any questions regarding these functions, please leave a comment below.
The next function we look at is the tabulator. The tabulator works the same as a tab on a computer. It allows you to create indentations in new paragraphs. Here we have a look at the back of the typewriter. This is the escapement. This system determines the spacing between each character that is printed on the page. This is the mainspring, and attached to the mainspring is what's called a drawband. One end of the drawband is connected to the carriage, the other to the mainspring. The mainspring is what makes the mechanism work and the carriage move as you are typing along. Here on the back is also where you set your tab stops. This typewriter is fitted with 5 tab stops. The ruler that you see is coherent with the ruler at the front. This allows you to set your tab stops exactly where you want them. Let me give a brief demonstration. I have a tab set at the 15 mark and I have a tab set at the 30 mark. First the carriage will move to the 15 mark tab and then it will move to the 30 mark tab. Some typewriters are fitted with a mechanism that allows you to set unlimited tabs on every space. A typewriter is inked by ribbons, which are connected to 2 spools. The ribbon spools sit in their slots and the actual ribbon is threaded through a ribbon vibrator, which will move up and down as you type. The ribbon spools will also turn in the process. This is done by a crank mechanism that's inside the machine. The mechanism can also be turned by a crank that's installed at the side. Some typewriters do not have this. In this case you will just use the spool in order to turn the ribbon.
Typewriting is a skill. It is very important that you practice and learn how to type properly on one of these. It is not electronically assisted. It is not the way where you push a button and it will produce an electronic letter on the screen. This machine is mechanical and because of that, the way you type is really important. I will show you how you do it.
I'm going to show you how you type on a typewriter. I do not touch type in the classic way. My typing style has been criticized because I do not use all my fingers. It doesn't matter how many fingers you use. The speed here is not important. My goal here is to show you how to create even impressions. Here I'm going through all the functions to show you how to prepare for writing. I start off with a slow pace. Now at medium speed. And now at top speed. Listen how every time I hit a key it sounds the same as it hits the page. This means I use the right force on every key.
And basically that's all there is to typewriters. Even though your typewriter might be a lot different from this, the basis is the same. I have a tip for those that are buying a typewriter for the first time, and that's don't buy one of these. Buy a mid-century portable. They're very straightforward and very easy to use, so it will help you understand them better.
Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope to have created a spark of interest to people who are new to typewriters. It's great to see they have found a new purpose in modern society. Please like and subscribe and stick around for the next video.